Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders are staring down a monumental challenge in Week 8 as they prepare to host the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Expectations for this season started high, fueled by the team's exhilarating run to the NFC Championship just last year. Fans were dreaming of another playoff push, envisioning big plays, dramatic finishes, and the chance to finally punch that elusive Super Bowl ticket. But reality has been a harsh teacher for head coach Dan Quinn and his squad. The Commanders sit at a frustrating 3-4 record, and the hurdles they've faced aren't just on the scoreboard. Injuries, contract disputes, and a series of untimely setbacks have conspired to make the season feel like an uphill battle from the very first whistle. Among all these challenges, one absence has been felt more acutely than any other: star wide receiver Terry McLaurin. McLaurin's journey this season has been a roller coaster of hope, disappointment, and anticipation. The Ohio State product, a proven playmaker and second-team All-Pro, was absent from training camp and preseason practices due to a protracted contract standoff with general manager Adam Peters. The holdout stretched on far longer than anyone expected, leaving fans and teammates alike wondering when, or if, he would return to the field. For a team built around explosive passing plays and a reliable receiving core, losing McLaurin at the start of the season was more than just a setback. It was a massive blow to morale and offensive continuity. He eventually signed on terms that fit the Commanders' long-term strategy, but by then, the wheels of the season were already spinning in less favorable directions. As if the contract drama wasn't enough, McLaurin's return to the field was immediately complicated by injury. In Week 3 against the Las Vegas Raiders, he suffered a quad and hip injury, further sidelining him during a stretch of games that could have been critical for Washington's momentum. The team did not place him on injured reserve, leaving open the faint possibility of a return, but each week passed with fans holding their breath and hearing reassurances from Quinn that amounted to little more than hope. For 4 consecutive games, McLaurin's name was absent from the active roster, his absence a glaring hole in the Commanders' offensive strategy. Yet, the narrative shifted as Week 8 approached, with Quinn finally signaling that his star receiver would be back in the fold for the Monday Night Showdown. McLaurin's return to practice has been a story of incremental progress, but each session has carried enormous weight for both him and the team. He participated fully in 3 consecutive practices leading up to the Chiefs game, a critical signal that his body was responding well after a long layoff. For the Commanders, this was not just about adding a weapon to the lineup. It was about reinvigorating a squad that has battled more adversity than most expected. When a 2-time Pro Bowler like McLaurin steps back onto the field, it changes the dynamic in the locker room. Confidence rises, morale improves, and teammates are reminded that they have one of the league's most talented receivers ready to make an impact. Pairing him with fellow veteran wideout Deebo Samuel Sr. also gives the offense a pair of explosive threats, which could be vital against a Chiefs defense that is no stranger to making life difficult for opposing quarterbacks. Speaking of quarterbacks, the return of McLaurin intersects interestingly with Washington's current signal caller situation. Jayden Daniels, who has been under center in recent weeks, will not be leading the offense against Kansas City. Instead, Marcus Mariota, a seasoned veteran with a history of chemistry with McLaurin, will take the reins. This familiarity could smooth some of the rust off McLaurin's game, providing the comfort of timing and trust that is critical when a receiver is returning from an extended absence. However, it's important to temper expectations. McLaurin has missed significant game action, including off-season workouts, and the rhythm and timing that define elite wide receivers are often honed over months of practice and in-game repetitions. There's no instant magic, and offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury will need to strike a careful balance, ensuring that McLaurin is involved without overwhelming him with too many targets too quickly. Despite the need for caution, the Commanders simply play better when McLaurin is active. His ability to stretch the field, create separation, and draw defensive attention opens opportunities for the entire offense. Even if he is not immediately back to 100%, his presence alone forces defenses to account for him, potentially creating mismatches elsewhere in the lineup. The Chiefs, who boast a formidable defense led by aggressive pass rushers and dynamic secondary playmakers, will need to adjust their game plan to account for his return. This could free up other weapons for Mariota and the Commanders, perhaps creating just enough space to make the matchup competitive in a game that many have already written off as a challenge for Washington. There's also a narrative element at play here. McLaurin's journey has been emblematic of the Commanders' season as a whole. Moments of hope followed by setbacks, flashes of brilliance interrupted by adversity. His return is more than a tactical consideration. It's a storyline of redemption, resilience, and the chance to reignite the spark that brought the team so close to glory last year. For fans, seeing McLaurin back on the field is a reminder of what this team is capable of when it's at full strength. The combination of a motivated coaching staff, a talented quarterback with established rapport, and a returning star wide receiver sets the stage for a game that could shift perceptions of the season, even if only slightly. In practical terms, it's crucial to manage expectations. McLaurin is unlikely to replicate peak form immediately. He has missed critical portions of the season, and defenses will likely test him early, aiming to exploit any lingering rust or hesitation. The Commanders must be strategic, using him in situations where his impact can be maximized while avoiding overexposure that could lead to re-injury or diminished confidence. Nevertheless, the excitement of seeing McLaurin back in action cannot be understated. His presence transforms the offense from a struggling unit into one capable of moments of brilliance, the kind of plays that can swing momentum in a single drive and electrify the home crowd under the Monday night lights. Ultimately, Terry McLaurin's Week 8 return is a story about more than just one player. It symbolizes hope, perseverance, and the tangible difference a single elite talent can make in the NFL. For the Washington Commanders, it is a chance to reclaim some pride, to challenge a dominant Chiefs team, and to demonstrate to fans that despite the trials of a rocky season, the potential for greatness still exists. The narrative heading into Monday night is clear. McLaurin is back, and while miracles shouldn't be expected overnight, the Commanders are undeniably better with him on the field. It's time for him to remind everyone why he is one of the league's premier receivers and why his presence matters not just statistically, but emotionally, for a team hungry to turn its season around. Week 8 isn't just another game. It's a chapter in a story of redemption, resilience, and the power of returning stars to breathe life back into a team desperate for hope. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. If you've been following the NFL offseason drama, and let's be honest, who hasn't been living for it lately, then you already know things are heating up in Washington, D.C. The whispers that were just background noise a few weeks ago are now turning into full-blown conversations across locker rooms, sports bars, and social media timelines. And at the center of the latest whirlwind? None other than Terry McLaurin, the star wide receiver who has become synonymous with electrifying plays, relentless effort, and, apparently, a spine of steel when it comes to speaking his mind. The man doesn't just run routes, he runs narratives. And the latest? McLaurin has reportedly collided headfirst with head coach Dan Quinn in a confrontation that insiders are calling explosive, blunt, and, in some reports, utterly unforgettable. According to sources close to the team, the exchange wasn't just a heated locker room argument. It was an outright battle of wills, with McLaurin throwing his unfiltered opinion straight at Quinn, essentially laying it out in stark, almost cinematic fashion. This is how you ruin Jayden Daniels. Now, imagine the scene. You have Terry McLaurin, a player who has spent years earning respect on the field through sweat, determination, and highlight reel catches, standing toe-to-toe with Dan Quinn, a seasoned coach whose resume includes everything from defensive masterminding to playoff campaigns. It's the kind of setup you see in movies, not in actual NFL practice facilities. The tension reportedly began during a film session where the team was reviewing plays, breaking down offensive schemes, and analyzing the development of their young quarterback, Jayden Daniels. McLaurin, whose eyes are always on the bigger picture, apparently spotted something in the way the offense was being run that made him uncomfortable. No, infuriated. Sources say he interrupted the session, raising his voice just enough to cut through the room, saying, in essence, that the current approach was setting Daniels up for failure. The language, by all accounts, was not subtle. You can't keep calling plays that put him in impossible situations. That's not coaching, that's sabotaging. McLaurin allegedly shot at Quinn, leaving everyone in the room momentarily stunned. You could practically hear a pin drop. Of course, the reports vary on the details, because inside the NFL, nothing stays small for long. Some insiders say the clash escalated because McLaurin didn't just criticize the play calling. He criticized Quinn's vision for the team, the trust in the quarterback, and, indirectly, the culture that Quinn is trying to instill. Now, Terry McLaurin has never been one to mince words publicly, but the idea that he would confront a head coach of Quinn's stature is sending shockwaves. Remember, Quinn is not just a coach. He's a figure who commands authority, with decades in the league and a reputation for building disciplined, tough squads. For McLaurin to step up and challenge him in such a direct way, well, that's the kind of stuff that gets locker room legends made, or, depending on the fallout, very complicated headlines. The underlying tension seems to revolve around Jayden Daniels, who, despite flashes of potential, is still a young quarterback navigating the immense pressure of leading a franchise hungry for success. McLaurin, who has been in high-pressure situations himself and has witnessed firsthand what it takes to thrive under the NFL spotlight, reportedly sees the current strategy as detrimental. According to sources, McLaurin argued that if the coaching staff continues to deploy Daniels in high-risk scenarios without adjusting protection schemes, route designs, or offensive tempo, it could stunt his growth, or worse, damage his confidence irreversibly. And that's where the phrase, "this is how you ruin Jayden Daniels," supposedly originated. The bluntness of it is striking. Most veterans, even when they disagree with coaching, will frame it diplomatically, using words like concerned, optimizing, or adjusting. McLaurin? Not him. He apparently cut through the euphemisms like a scalpel. Naturally, word of the confrontation leaked, as these things always do. The NFL is a small world, and when a player of McLaurin's caliber speaks with that kind of intensity, the rumor mill goes into overdrive. Some insiders are painting this as a pivotal moment, a kind of crossroads for the Commanders' locker room. Will Quinn see it as insubordination, or will he recognize it as the passionate feedback of a veteran who genuinely wants the team to succeed? That question is hanging in the air, like static before a storm. Adding fuel to the fire is the fact that Terry McLaurin isn't just any veteran. He's a leader by action and reputation, someone younger players reportedly gravitate toward for guidance, mentorship, and straight talk. So when McLaurin allegedly threw down with Quinn over Daniels' development, it wasn't just a private gripe. It was a statement that the direction of the offense, the growth of the quarterback, and possibly even the trajectory of the season were at stake. Fans, of course, are already picking sides. Social media is buzzing with reactions ranging from McLaurin's "just looking out for the team" to "no player should ever talk to a coach like that." But here's the thing. The NFL has a long history of these moments being turning points. Sometimes, a heated discussion like this ignites a spark that leads to better team cohesion, sharper strategies, and more trust on the field. Other times, it can create fractures that linger throughout the season, becoming a storyline that overshadows wins and losses. In this case, the focus is very clearly on Daniels, who reportedly hasn't been directly involved in the dispute, but is aware of it. The quarterback reportedly respects McLaurin immensely and has reportedly welcomed the input, but it's the public perception, the locker room narrative, and Quinn's response that will ultimately define how this plays out. Insiders have also hinted that the conversation could have ripple effects beyond just the quarterback room. The wide receiver room, coaching staff, and even front office executives are reportedly watching closely. Terry McLaurin's approach sends a message. There is a line between constructive feedback and perceived sabotage, and he is willing to speak up when he thinks that line is being crossed. But it also raises questions about authority, team hierarchy, and the balance between player input and coaching philosophy. Are we witnessing the birth of a new player-driven culture in Washington, or is this just a momentary clash destined to be smoothed over in team meetings and media statements? Only time will tell, but for now, the rumor mill is running at full throttle. The drama doesn't end with the confrontation itself. Word is that the post-incident reactions in the locker room have been a mix of admiration, disbelief, and cautious optimism. Teammates reportedly see McLaurin's outspokenness as a reflection of his commitment, a kind of all-in-or-nothing mentality that some veterans claim is infectious. Others are reportedly worried about potential tension with Quinn, who, despite being described as approachable, is not known for tolerating repeated public challenges to his methods. And if the reports are accurate, the tension isn't just about one play or one quarterback. It's about the philosophical direction of the team, the culture that Quinn wants to instill, and the leadership role McLaurin has increasingly taken upon himself. For analysts, pundits, and fans alike, this moment is a goldmine. Was it a justified intervention by a veteran who sees the potential pitfalls for a young quarterback? Or was it a risky move that could upset the delicate balance between player respect and coach authority? Speculation is rampant, and social media commentary is only intensifying the narrative. Memes, reaction videos, and hot takes are flooding timelines, all centered around the idea that Terry McLaurin may have just risked it all to protect Jayden Daniels. Whether this will be remembered as a turning point or a heated anecdote in a season full of stories remains to be seen, but the intrigue is undeniable. Ultimately, the Terry McLaurin-Dan Quinn confrontation has everything you could want from an NFL saga: star power, youthful promise, seasoned authority, and a lightning rod in the form of blunt honesty. As the league moves toward the season, every eye will be on Washington, D.C., and every ear will be listening for how this story develops. Will McLaurin be vindicated as the voice of reason who stood up for his teammate, or will this clash mark a fracture in team unity that becomes impossible to ignore? For now, the speculation, the rumor, and the dramatic tension are exactly what makes the NFL so endlessly fascinating. And as we all wait, one thing is certain: when Terry McLaurin speaks, the room listens, and sometimes the league does, too. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.